Now from News 10 NBC, a Touchdown 10 sports special, Sectional Showdown.
7 weeks, hundreds of touchdowns, thousands of memories. The regular season was wild, and now it's time for sectionals. Welcome to Sectional Showdown. Alongside Breland Moore, I'm Rich Donnelly.
Undefeated teams, upset stunners, and even a couple surprise players stepping up when their teams needed them the most. We saw just about everything this year in Section 5.
And before we take a look ahead at what's coming up in sectionals, let's take a look back at some of the best plays of the year. Our first play of the year comes from a new series we started on Touchdown 10. We call it our Small Town Showdown. Clyde Savannah was on the road against Red Jacket. That's Derek Chance on the spot, plucks the ball out of midair and returns it all the way for a touchdown. Chance had 2 interceptions and 3 touchdowns in the game. Clyde Savannah looking good heading into sections. Let's head on out to Webster. Malachi Duvall flipping his way into our top plays. Schrader has a home game in the first round. And we would like to take this opportunity to say, punters and kickers are people too. That's Penfield's Luke Palladino with the 49-yard field goal. 27 kickers in the NFL missed a kick from that distance last season. And some game-winning plays. Final seconds, Leroy's Cole Biggins. Reese Tresco on the receiving end of the touchdown with 5 seconds on the clock. Leroy beat Calmum. Argananda also on the goal line. 4th down, need 6 for the win. But Wayne slams the door and they stop the Bombers to win the game on homecoming. That play may have sent Wayne to sectionals. And we're going all the way back to the first week of the season. Victor driving against Aquinas. Mike Nowitzki, with a vicious stiff arm. What a play. He scores a touchdown and sticking with great passes. Livonia's Ryan Lambert floats a rainbow pass right into the hands of Matt Hyde. Livonia riding a 5-game winning streak, rolling on into sectionals. And those are just some of the great plays that we saw throughout an unbelievable regular season. We can't wait to see what comes up in sectionals. Now, speaking of sectionals, it's time to break down those brackets. And for that, we head on over to the wall. Breland Moore rejoins me. And Breland, it looks like there are some titanic matchups in AA.
Absolutely. You can see right behind me, this is going to be a very tough bracket. I don't know if I'd want to be in this. Obviously, first-seeded Pittsford going against Churchville Tri-Lite. That's a team they literally just saw the week before.
Tough to go back-to-back.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you see over here defending champion Victor going to play Edison. So that's going to be a great matchup. And
that's the thing we have to notice here. We can't sleep on Aquinas. Some of the players on this team have state championship pedigree with them, and certainly the run that they've had. Aquinas, and they've been rolling recently as well.
Absolutely.
They're going to be tough. But let's not sleep on this McQuaid and Schrader matchup either. McQuaid has not won a sectional championship since 1978. Schrader used to be a mainstay in sectionals. Again, a lot of dominant teams here in Class AA. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, this whole bracket's going to be great, I think.
All right, let's swing on over to Class A. And in this one, again, Greece Athena was undefeated going into sectionals.
Yeah.
And they're playing an undefeated Irondequoit team in the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be a great thing to see. Greece Athena just kind of barely sneaking in. I'm a little surprised to see them at an 8 seed going off of last year, but I think it's going to be a great matchup regardless. And of course, you can't sleep on this Canandaigua-Spencerport matchup. They might look even, but early in the season, Canandaigua actually beat them 21-0. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up as well.
Those 4 or 5 games always bring a lot of fun highlights.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested with Wilson and Eastridge. Wilson looks dominant. Defense great all throughout the regular season. City Catholic Championship game they reached. They're having a 5:30 kick at Capelli Sports Stadium on Friday. Interesting with the sun still up. Not quite the sectional feel, but it'd be interesting to see exactly how these teams are matching up.
Absolutely. So we should probably keep on going because we have some great matchups in Class B as well. We have this wonderful matchup over here. Running back Ray Leach, incredible season for him and the Batavia Blue Devils. They're going to go head-to-head with Wayne, which is going to be interesting to see. So I'm excited for that one. And, of course, we have a couple undefeated teams as well. So, you know, Hornell, obviously, going 7-0 here as well. So they're going to be playing Newark in their first round.
And then also, HFL kind of snuck up on some people. I feel that the Cougars are going to have a lot of people playing well. Livonia's offense can play. They can move the ball with the best of them. It'll be interesting to see exactly how that goes out, especially if it becomes Livonia Hornell. If we're going chalk, 1 versus 2, it could be a titanic matchup in the championship game.
That's going to be fun.
Let's swing on over to our next class. This is Class C, and this one, to me, has the most parity of any of the brackets. I think this one specifically is wide open, and especially at the top. We've got E. Argononda, who's been there before, but Leroy's been great. Penn Yan's offense has been great. Penn Yan handled Bath last week, but then you have Cal Mum. Cal Mum's defense has been sneaky good this season. It'd be interesting to see how they
And it will be great because Leroy and Cal Mum, obviously big rivals, have been the biggest of rivals for as long as time exists down there.
100 years worth of rivalry.
So absolutely.
Sure.
So if the two of them can get through these tough matchups, especially that Penn Yan matchup, that's going to be a great thing. And you and I had talked about that before. Very, very close game. That was one of our Touchdown 10 games of the week.
Sure.
So that'd be interesting to see another one of those.
And when Leroy won with 5 seconds to go, you got to think that Cal Mum remembered that. A chance to see them in the semifinals would be huge.
Absolutely.
All right, Class D, the last class, certainly
Last
not
but
the
not
least.
least.
And we've seen some fantastic games coming out of these groups of teams. You've got Red Jacket playing really well at the right time, but also Clyde Savannah and Canisteo Greenwood. A lot of really good underrepresented athletes in these teams. We've seen 95-yard touchdowns across the board all season long with teams like this.
And Clyde Savannah is still undefeated, so that's going to be cool, interesting to see if they can continue that throughout this class bracket.
And they've reached the championship game a few times over the last couple of years. We'll see how they do when we get into tournament play. Well, that's a look at the brackets. When we come back, he was one of the winningest coaches in the history of Section 5. How a former head coach is helping a new team climb back to the top.
Tonight's Touchdown 10 Sports Special is brought to you by Ontario Honda, Niagara University, Fidelis Care, Dorschel Automotive Group, and Canisius College.
Welcome back to Sectional Showdown. He is one of the most successful head coaches in the history of Section 5 football. Chris Battaglia led Aquinas to 4 state championships and 9 sectional titles while head coach of the Little Irish. But he stepped away from the job after Aquinas' season ended last year. It didn't take long for Battaglia to find his way back to the sidelines, albeit in a different role.
I wanted to find somewhere where I could just coach.
A coach through and through, Chris Battaglia is doing what he loves, coaching football players.
State champion.
Just last year, he was the head coach of one of the greatest dynasties in Section 5 history. 9 Section 5 titles and 4 state championships over 11 years. But something was missing, so he stepped down. That's where Irondequoit head coach Dan Fichter comes in.
I probably called Chris for the last 3 years and asked him, and I know the answer no was coming. But after this past year, I thought to myself, I might have a chance here. I know his credentials. They speak for themselves, but what I didn't know is the day-to-day work ethic that he puts in is incredible.
Battaglia's time away from the game lasted a grand total of 1 off-season. Fichter called, and Battaglia agreed to become Irondequoit's defensive coordinator.
As a head coach, I had so many different roles, and here it's just as an assistant coach, you just get to be with the kids, and you get to coach, and you know, you're one-on-one with them all the time.
And the kids already see the difference.
He's an awesome guy. He's taught me so much. I've grown from hardly knowing the position to knowing it pretty well, and that's all thanks to him. And he's done great things at Aquinas and now here.
He made a big impact. We practice defense all the time. We do it probably like in the beginning of practice and at the end, and we just make sure we master it.
After seeing what happened last year and having to witness it every day in every game, it's just crazy how much better we are, very improved.
To quantify the change that Battaglia brought to Irondequoit's defense, consider this. Last year, Irondequoit gave up more than 37 points per game and allowed more than 40 points 4 times. This year, the Eagles are giving up just 14 points per game and haven't allowed more than 7 points in their last 3 games.
They're much more comfortable in what we're doing, and I think that's been the biggest thing. And watching them on tape before this year is they tackle. And we're making a lot of tackles this year, some in open field that have let us live another day. And I think that's been a big change because last year I think they missed a lot of tackles.
Irondequoit's head coach sees it a bit differently.
Every coach on our staff and every kid that we coach has learned from Coach Battaglia. His tremendous work ethic, his ability to evaluate film, the talent that we need to put out there. He's made a huge impact on not just the scheme, but on the mentality of the kids playing. I mean, we've got tough guys now.
He's taught me to never give up, to always try, just helped me grow as a player. He's made a huge difference.
Battaglia and the Irondequoit Eagles host defending Class A champion Greece Athena in the first round on Friday night. Breland, we'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Rich. Well, the Pittsford Panthers have proven themselves to be one of the top teams in Section 5. At 6-1, they haven't lost to a sectional opponent. They even defeated defending champion Victor a few weeks ago in a rematch of last year's title game. And that's a game that's been motivation for Pittsford's entire 2017 season. Last season, the Victor Blue Devils took home the AA sectional title with a win over Pittsford. And while Victor celebrated with the brick, the Panthers had to go home empty-handed. Then, the very next day, they got back to work.
As soon as we lost last year to Victor, I had that sort of redemption of my own, to say the least. Of like every time I'd lift or go out and practice, one goal was in mind, which was winning against Victor, or just redemption in general.
Our group knew that we needed to get better, and even though we lost a few key players, we all knew that we had enough players to get it done this year.
With redemption on the minds of everyone, the Panthers started preparing for 2017.
This senior class has been all in since November, and again, that was high expectations last year, and coming up short to a very good Victor team, putting the pressure on these kids, and they've worked all winter, all spring, all summer, and all through the fall for this. This year, Pittsford is entering sectionals as the top seed, boasting a record of 6-1 and riding a 6-game winning streak. And this year, they say it's sectional brick or bust.
We haven't won a sectional championship in a long time, and just getting to the championship like every other year, it's just a pain just losing it, and it'd be really good this year. We're first seed, so it's promising.
Obviously, before they make it to that title game, they have to battle several teams to get there. But the Panthers promise they'll still bring that revenge mentality each and every contest.
We're in the mindset of, if we don't win, we're done. So every game, and really after that Victor win, we said to ourselves, every game we play right now is a sectional championship. We cannot lose or we go backwards. Now, in this part of the season, if we lose, we're done. So it is a sectional championship every single game.
Well, top-seeded Pittsford will play Churchville-Chili at home this Saturday at 6 p.m. And still to come in our Section 5 Showdown show, meet a pair of brothers who take the phrase, keeping it in the family, to heart. Plus, we're going to get you all set for this weekend's games. Stay with us. Well, Braden and Grayson Zanelovic are brothers born just a year apart, and they say they've always had a great sibling dynamic.
But when one of them suffered a season-ending injury, that brotherly bond became the saving grace for Wayne's football season.
Wayne's senior quarterback, Braden Zanelovic, was supposed to lead the Eagles for one final year. But in the first week of the season, the unthinkable happened.
In the first game against Geneva with 6 minutes left, I unfortunately got sacked, and I guess my foot twisted the wrong way, got stuck in the turf, and I didn't know at the time, but I tore my Liz Frank ligament and fractured 2 bones. Like, football has been, the thing I've loved most for like my entire life, so it was definitely tough to cope with.
With Braden sidelined for the season, Wayne was down their star quarterback and needed to find a replacement very quickly. Luckily, there was another Zanelovic on the team, and his younger brother Grayson stepped up to take over the position. It would be challenging to any junior backup to suddenly find himself in a starting role, but the two brothers have worked together to make the transition as smooth as possible.
He's had a lot more work in the spread than I have, but he's helped me through it all every step of the way, and the team is very confident in me as well as him and the coaches. He's the best quarterback I know, and so he helps me with everything. I'm definitely not as strong as he is, and he's built me up this year.
We got an iPad on the sideline that kind of shows the overview of the plays and everything. And whenever he comes on the sideline, I talk to him and tell him what I see and what I think he should do or what he's doing really good. And I'm just being the brother to him and I guess another coach and a mentor for him.
Losing a starting quarterback can mean the loss of a season, but the Eagles finished at 5-2 this year.
Oh, it's awesome. It makes my job easier with the support system they have at home with their mom and dad and the support system they have for each other. That's really, truly why that transition was that smooth, because the skill set was there and they help each other mentally as well as, pushing each other with their skill set, both of them. So it was definitely an easy transition for both of them.
A senior season might have been lost, but an even closer bond has been gained.
A lot of people talk about how they don't really get along with their siblings, but me and Braden get along real well. And I think that the injury has definitely brought me closer to him in the football world.
Seeing the team I should have been, suiting up with every game, not being able to play is very, very tough for me. I've never, stood on the sideline for a game before, so it's definitely tough, But I got my brother out here, he's doing a great job, so I'm proud of him. He's my best friend, honestly. We grew up together. We were a year apart, so everything we've done it together. So it's really awesome to, unfortunately, this is my last season and I'm, on the sideline, but it's with him and he's the one playing, so it's great.
Well, Wayne is seeded 5th in the Class B bracket and plays Batavia Saturday at 5.
Great story, Breland. And there's still more to come on Sectional Showdown, including the first game of the Section 5 football tournament. We got that for you when we come back after the break. Welcome back to Sectional Showdown. It's almost that time to start these games. And before the games begin, let's tell you who's playing and where they're playing. This is Class AA. Churchville Chili's on the road in Pittsford. That's a Saturday game, 7 p.m. These teams just played last week. Also in AA, Edison heads on the road to face Victor on Friday.
And sticking with AA, you got number 6 Hilton at number 3 Aquinas. That'll kick off on Saturday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Got a little Saturday matinee there. And then number 5 McQuaid at number 4 Webster Schrader. That kicks off Friday at 7 p.m.
Moving on down to Class A, defending sectional champion Greece Athena is on the road against Irondequoit. Irondequoit coming into this one undefeated. And then speaking of Irondequoit, Eastridge will face Wilson. That's Friday at 5:30 at Capelli Sports Stadium.
And then on the other side of that, of course, you have Brighton and Brockport going head-to-head. That's on a Friday night light schedule. That's Friday at 7 p.m. Also Friday at 7, Canandaigua is hosting number 5 Spencerport, and that should be a really good one as well.
Oh, that'll be an excellent game. In Class B, Newark travels to Hornell. Waterloo is going to take on Livonia. Both of those games coming Friday at 7:30.
Ooh, 7:30, little addition there. And then, of course, you have HFL and Geneva going head-to-head Saturday at 5 p.m. And then Wayne and Batavia Friday at 7.
And don't sleep on Class C. We've seen a lot of phenomenal games coming out from this class over the years. Gananda hosting Minders. That's Friday at 7 o'clock. Gananda looking to keep on rolling. Its sectional championship lore is in the balance. Leroy looking to get a title brick. They host Letchworth Friday at 7:35.
And then, of course, you have Calmom and Penyan going at it at Saturday, 6 p.m. Marcus Whitman and Bath, Saturday at 3:30.
In Class D, Clyde Savannah hosts Perry, Alexander hosts C.G. Finney, and then also in Class D, Red Jacket Cuba Rushford, and Pembroke takes on Canisteo Greenwood. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the sectional games.